Okay, so very good morning to you all. So this screen and my voice is audible and the screen is visible, whiteboard.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So yesterday we have studied about reliability growth modeling. That is under that section we have studied two models, the Zelensky-Miranda model and the Littlewood-Verrall's model. Okay. So today, as said, we will begin with the next topic under the software reliability and quality management module, that is the statistical testing. Okay. So, as the from the name itself, we can say that it is a testing process. But here, the objective is to determine the reliability of the product rather than discovering errors. So earlier, when we studied different type of testing, our motto was to detect errors. But here, the aim is so the test cases, they are designed with an entirely different objective from those of this conventional testing, the white box testing, black box testing, performance testing. These are the conventionals one. And here our motto is to determine how much the product is reliable to purchase. Okay. So, in order to carry out the statistical testing, we need to first define the operational profile of this product. So, first we need to define the operation profile. So, as we all know that different categories of users, they may use a software product for different purposes. For example, the suppose the library automation software. The librarian, he might use that software in order to create member records, to delete the member records, to add books to the library, I suppose, etc. Whereas a library member, suppose a student, he might use the software to query about, suppose, which book is available and whether we can issue that book and not, and what are the return policy, or when we need to return the books, whether I have returned a book or not. So same software, different operations are performed by these two different categories of people. So formally, we can define this operation profile of any software as the probability of a user selecting the different functionalities of the software. So it will be. So suppose if we denote the set of various functionalities which is offered by that software as a set of Fi, okay, and the operation profile would associate with each, the operational profile would associate with each of these functions Fi with the probability with which, suppose, an average user would select a function from this group of Fi. So as is next function to use. So with each function we can assign a probability as well. So this operation profile, we in simplest terms we can think of that assigning a probability value to each functionality of the software. If I define or denote the probability by pi and the functionalities of the software fi, so I need to associate one probability value to each of these functionalities of the software. Okay, so this is the definition of what this operation profile means. Now, how do we define this operation profile of any product? So what we can do is we can divide this input data into a number of input classes. Suppose I have a graphical editor software. So I can divide this input data associated with, suppose I have some, I using this graphical interface, I will edit something, then I will print something, then I will suppose do some different operations. So these different operations I will be checking with different test cases. So these test cases I can classify or group into different classes or different sections depending on which operation will it perform. Okay, so now by analyzing or by observing this usage pattern of any software, suppose by a number of users. So if I try to use this automation library automation software for students and librarians, I can take inputs from a variety of users. So by analyzing and observing this usage pattern of any software, we are generally able to create a operation profile so that we can assign a probability value with each functionality of the software, and in a order we can determine that the reliability of the product. Okay, so is this statistical testing concept clear to everyone? Is there any query? Okay, so I will move on to the next topic. So what are the steps in? Okay, so as we studied, the first step is to determine the operation profile of the software, right? And after I have determined the operation profile, my next step will be to generate the set of test data according to like to the determined operation profile. So generate. So according to the operation profile which we have just determined, I will generate my set of test data. So with which I will be testing my software with. And the third step is to apply these test cases. The test cases which I have generated from step 2, I will apply these test cases to the software, and then I will do what? I will record the time. So we will apply and record the time between each failure. Fine. So my first step will be, first, for any software I will first determine the operation profile. Then I will generate the set of test cases according to the operation profile I have determined, and then I will apply these test cases, and then I will record the time which is taken between each failure. So after a statistically, suppose a significant number of failures have been observed, then we can compute the reliability. So after a few number of failures have been observed, then I can calculate this reliability, right? 1 minute. So this was this concept about this statistical testing procedure. Okay. So anyone has any query till now? Okay. So we will move on to the next topic, that is the software quality. Up to now we were studying about this software reliability, and now I will be telling about this software quality. So this quality of any product, it is defined in terms of fitness of purpose, right? So quality is known as fitness. Suppose we have a good quality product, and it will do exactly what the users want it to do. Since almost for every product, the fitness of purpose is interpreted in terms of the satisfaction of the requirements, which is written in this SRS document. So suppose, consider a software product which is functionally correct. So it correctly performs all the functions that have been specified in the SRS document. So, but even though it is functionally correct, we cannot consider it to be a quality product if it has an unusable user interface. That means, suppose my the functions which that software intended to perform, which was demanded by the client, it is performing. But in addition to it also, the interface which the client demanded, that interface needs to be a very simple one, but it is seeing that after the product is done or prepared, that or developed, that the interface is not that much user friendly. So even if the functionality is correct, the product is performing, functionality wise it is perfect, but we cannot consider it to be of a good quality product because it doesn't have a usable user interface. So suppose also, 1 minute, some sound is coming from someone. I will mute that person. Okay. And also suppose another product is there. It is also performing very nice, but the code, the code section of this program, it is very much unmaintainable. Okay. So the traditional concept of software quality is what? The quality means that it, maybe the at first the approach was that if my product performs all the functionalities correctly specified in the SRS document, then I will take this uh, product as a good quality product. But with advancement of our engineering principles, it is seen that even if suppose the functionality of a product is okay, still I cannot mark is at a good quality software until and unless suppose other factors are there which it meets also. Suppose the user interface should be very nice, then the code section will be a very maintainable factor. So this modern view of a quality of any product, it associates with several other attributes, several factors apart from just the functionalities are okay or not, it is giving right result or not. Several other factors are also associated when we want to determine that whether the software quality of that product is okay or not. Okay, so now we will study one by one the several factors which are associated with our software quality. Okay, the first one is portability. Now we all know that what a portable software is. So if it can easily work in different hardware and different operating system environments, and it can easily interface with external hardware devices, software products externally as well, we say that it is a portable software product. And to today's world, we aim at this portability feature. Okay, the next factor is usability. So, if suppose different categories of users, both the expert and the non expert, if both can easily use all the functions of this product, then we say that it is very usable, that product is usable. Suppose in today's world, if you see a normal Android version, this smartphone, different sections of our people, both the educated and the uneducated, everyone can use this mobile, right? But if you go to some other and other features, suppose this Apple and all, it may not be that much user friendly to someone else. So this is the reason why instead of this Windows or this Apple, this Android became so famous overnight, because it's it can be used by a very large section of people in different categories, both the people who are expert in using and the people who are not expert in using. So this determines the usability of the software product. The next is reusability. So if different modules of that product, it can be reused to develop new products, then we can say that it is reusable. So suppose from the same code, different modules of the code we are using in order to build another product or another version of the product, then I can say that this product is reusable. The fourth attribute is correctness. So, if different requirements that are specified in the SRS document, they have been correctly implemented. So, the requirement is not only thinking about the functionality part. So, if in the SRS document it was documented that this will be the functionalities of the product which be delivered, and also the GUI interface needs to be very user friendly so that a kid can also use it. So suppose I have delivered all the functionalities, but the interface I am not giving a good interface. I am giving a very complicated interface. Only the people from engineering background they will be able to use. Otherwise, most of the common people they won't be able to use. Then it is not my correct product what I have delivered to our customer. So what was specified in the SRS document, everything has not been satisfied. So then we will say that this is not a correct quality product. So this will refer to the correctness, that is whatever requirements is specified in the SRS document, that has been correctly implemented or not. The next metric is maintainability. So if suppose our product has having some errors, and if the errors we can easily correct it, so as and when the product errors show, they can be corrected and new functions can also be easily added to the product. And the functionalities in the product, they can be easily modified also. So if we can add new functionalities, if we can modify our existing functionalities easily, if when and then and there when we see some errors are occurring, we can recheck and we can make the code better. So if these things are there in our product, then we can say that yes, this software product is maintainable. So apart from just seeing the functionalities of software product, which was used in the traditional approach of this software concept, these are the other factors which like also contribute in determining that whether this software quality is okay or not. That is, this software's quality is as at par or not. Okay, fine. Now, there is a quality fact, there is a scientist. Now, this scientist named McCall, he distinguishes two levels of quality attributes. That is, in these attributes, he distinguishes quality attributes into two levels. One is higher level quality attributes, and these quality attributes are known as like external attributes, and another is the second level. The second level, they are known as quality criteria. So among these attributes in determining the quality of a product, this McCall scientist, he distinguishes this into two levels. One is the external attributes and another is the quality criteria. So one is the quality factor. This is known as quality factor, and this is known as quality criteria. Now, these quality factors, they can only be measured indirectly, and this quality criteria, they can be measured directly. So, this is indirectly measured, and this is directly measured. And by combining the ratings of these several criteria, we either obtain a rating for this quality factor, or suppose we obtain a rating that whether we are satisfied or not. So if you ask me, so this reliability, they cannot be measured directly, but by measuring the number of defects encountered over a period of time, we can like have a idea about this reliability feature, right? So reliability we cannot measure directly, but by seeing what are the defects occurring, and by seeing among over the which time these defects are occurring, by doing these things we can have a measure of this idea. So this is an indirect approach, right? So this reliability, this will be a quality factor because it it is determined indirectly. But inside this reliability, if I detect that what are the number of defects, then I can detect that how much over which period of time this number of defects have been occurred. So these are my direct measurements. So these two things like detecting the number of defects, amount of time, these are this low level quality factor. This can be obtained directly, so it's a low level quality factor. And this entire reliability, it can be obtained indirectly, so it is a high level quality factor. So this is the way how McCall has distinguished the quality factors between low level and high level criteria. Low level means that those quality factors which we cannot directly interpret, we can indirectly interpret. But high level and low level quality factors means that we can directly interpret them. Okay, so this was this concept about the software quality, the modern approach, in modern days, what are all the attributes that contribute in determining the software quality, then what is this Mackle's quality factor, how do we distinguish between a low level quality factor and a high level quality factor, that is an indirect and direct approach, and how, given an example of this reliability, I have just explained that reliability is an indirect, but inside this reliability, the number of defects and the amount of time, these are all direct factors. So these two are direct quality factors, and reliability as a whole is an indirect quality factor. Okay, so up to this, does anyone have any query? Up to this, does anyone have any query? Okay, so I will move on to the next topic. So now, since we have studied about the software quality, we will be studying about the software quality management system. Okay, so a quality management system, this is the principal methodology which is used by these organizations in order to ensure that the products that they develop, they have the desired quality or not. So when they develop a product, they have this quality management team. They will maintain and they will determine whether the quality is achieved or not. So this entire quality management system is there in each and every organization, who will ensure that whether the quality of the software is at par or not with what our customer or client they have demanded. So this quality system or this quality concept is the responsibility of every organization as a whole. Only the project manager, he cannot himself only determine whether my quality will be good or not. So if the entire team doesn't determine that I am, whatever I am giving, I am giving the best quality, that is someone who is writing the code, someone he is doing his job good, someone who is testing the code, he is doing his job good, and someone who is managing the team, he is also doing his job good. So if each and every person doesn't contribute, in deciding or in maintaining this quality of the product they are developing in each and every step. Quality is not a thing that you suddenly decide after at the last step. No. Right from the inception of this product development, you need to decide whether you will be maintaining the quality or not. And for this reason, good quality people are appointed, serious people are appointed who will maintain the quality throughout the development process. If the development is maintained, the testing will be good, testing will be good, automatically it will reflect in the quality. So overall, it is duty of each and everyone to maintain this quality, and also it is foremost the responsibility of the organization as a whole. So every organization, they have a separate quality department. They will perform the several quality system activities. And this quality system people, they need to have this full support of the top level management, because without this support, uh, what will happen is few members will take that quality management thing as a serious way, and few members will take it not in a serious way. So each and every member, they need to be very serious about the quality they will be developing to the client. And as a whole, the organization needs to see that whether the quality of the software has been right or not. Fine. So different quality system activities are there. So what are these activities that are maintained in this quality management system? First is this auditing of projects are done. Suppose first is auditing will be done. They will see what, they will check whether the processes are followed or not. So this auditing of this project will be done, and they will check that if the process has been followed. Next, they will collect this process and product metrics. They will analyze them, and then they will check if the quality goals are being made. So whatever metrics we studied yesterday, they will collect the process, they will collect the product metrics, values, they will analyze them, and then they will check if quality goals are met. Right? So after they will do this, then the third step they will do what? They will review. They will again review. So they will review the entire process so that it will be more effective. Then after everything is done and reviewed, they will develop the standards for the organization. They will develop the standards, they will develop the procedures, they will develop the guidelines, whatever you say. So they will do everything so that it will be maintained, and then they will produce reports to the top management. So then they will produce these reports from the top management. This will summarize the effectiveness of this quality system in the organization. So first they will audit. So first they will audit the project, and they will see if the process are being followed. Then they will collect this process and product metrics, and they will analyze them to check if the quality goals are met. Then they will review this quality system in order to see that it is more effective. Then they will develop the different standards, procedures, guidelines, and then they will produce these reports to the top management so that it will summarize this effectiveness of this quality system in the organization. So a good quality system, it must be a well documented one. Okay. So without a properly documented quality system, what happens is it will send a message to the staff that the attitude of the organizations towards this quality assurance is not good. They are not bothered about this quality. So if they are not bothered about this quality, then why should we as employees give extra effort? So it will give a wrong image if we do not document these quality controls and procedures in a good fashion. So it's always necessary to document this good quality system. So good quality system must be well documented. And for this thing, this very famous term which you all see nowadays is international standards. Suppose ISO 9000 and so on, they ISO was invented in order to provide guidance that how to organize a quality system. So nowadays, when we talk about any organization, we see that whether it is ISO certified or not. When what will ISO give us? ISO will give us this idea that if it is an ISO certified, then this quality of the product, this quality of this organization in developing and giving the clients the delivery, it is maintained. So this quality system concept, this quality management system, this quality system activities, this ISO, everything came so that good quality products can be built, good quality products can be delivered, and good quality procedures, they can be well documented as well. Okay, so I have less than 1 minute, so it will stop abruptly. So this was all about today's class. So anyone has any query up to which we have studied so far, he or she may ask. The